Hi, welcome to our conversation about the Dream Thieves. Let me start by saying none of us are prepared for this conversation. I finished the book 5 minutes ago, and I think I can hear my voice coming up of my speakers. Hold on. Okay. Hi, I'm Lala. I read this morning for the 8th time, and everyone else can introduce themselves now.
I am Kat. I read this last night, overnight. It was great.
How many times have you read this one?
I think 2 only.
Okay, yeah.
Like a normal.
This is also my second time reading this, but the first time was in a 24-hour readathon. So it was like I read it for the first time, and I also just finished, just like everyone else in the chat. We love this.
Elias couldn't be here today. He has some family stuff to do. We might have my husband pop in here. We'll see what happens. Thanks for
He's going to be like Noah, coming in and out.
Oh man, I'm so hot. All right, let me refer to my notes. Let's see. Okay, should we just somebody recap what this book is about?
I think you should. You've read it 8 times.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's about a ley line and dreams.
Let's think. What happened in the second book? In the second book, it really was mostly a hunt for Glendower. It's just I think what happens in fantasy books is the further you go into the series, the more magical they get. So in this one, it was just everything that was in the first book. We had the Caves Water magical forest. We had the Welsh Kings. We had blues magic. We had everything, but just more so. So I don't think anything was really much different. I would say this is kind of Ronin's book. I think the majority of this book focused on Ronin. And as the last line we discussed in The Raven Boys was, I took Chainsaw out of my dreams. This now focuses on Ronin as a dream thief and the magic associated with his dreams. That's what the book's about. I would really like to allow you guys to the audience, to
don't have to do anything.
Plot twist. I'd like you guys to dictate the conversation. I would love for you to ask any questions, anything you want us to focus on. I kind of think that the Dream Thieves and Blue Lily Blue are more difficult to talk about, especially in a non-spoiler type way. And there's not necessarily that much that could lead discussions. I feel like our final live show for the Raven King, we're going to want to talk like crazy about. But in this one, I just want to know what you guys want to talk about. I actually had a talking point on here that somebody asked last time what Hogwarts house every character was in. And I wanted to lead with that, but I think that's a conversation that should be with Elias. So I'm going to put that off until next time.
And you need the whole character development to really understand them, you know?
And the whole cast, because there's some main characters who.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Okay, so let's start with I think last time we asked some good questions that we could repeat, who is your favorite character and what's your favorite scene? Let's do main characters. Who is your favorite main character in this book? Everyone knows my favorite's Ronin. It'll always be Ronin. This was Ronin's book, so this was just my favorite thing of all time.
I think mine's still Gansey. Yeah, that's the easy answer, I guess.
Adam has grown on me. I for some reason last live show I had a weird grudge against him because I remember I don't know why, I just remember not liking him at all, and I'm like, ugh, Adam's coming. But now that I'm taking my time rereading them, I'm understanding his motivations more. He's not my favorite, but I think Gansey maybe. I don't know. Not Adam, but he's okay. I need them together. I need, like, I don't know, Blue and everybody has, like, a good dynamic. Maybe Blue. I don't know. I have no answers.
Right.
What about side characters? I feel like there were so many side characters in this book compared to the first one. Like, we really got some scenes with Persephone, obviously Kavinsky, and then the Gray Man, and then who else was in this book?
We got more Orla. Definitely more Orla.
The boat scene.
Yeah.
I think my favorite side character, the comments tell us to talk about Kavinsky. So I love Kavinsky as a character. I don't know why. I think it just kind of, he's a really big part of Ronin's growth throughout the book. I guess, I'm sorry, everyone, we're kind of already into spoilers. I don't really know how much there is.
You can't really talk about this without spoilers.
There's no way.
Yeah.
So Kavinsky is, he's what do they call it? A Grey Warren? So it's like a person who can pull things out of their dreams, and he's a huge part of Ronin's self-discovery, I think, with more than just magic, but I think a big part of his like magical journey. So I really liked him. If anyone didn't agree, go ahead and tell me. Talk shit about Gansey.
I think he's an interesting character in like a kind of villainy kind of way, but I hate him. I wanted to like choke the life out of him the whole time. Sorry. I don't know. I like what his character does for like Ronin's development and his growth throughout the story, but like I'm not sorry that he's dead. So yeah.
I think it's kind of like Welk in the past book. That was like how Gansey could turn like evil in a way, and like the other path he could have gone down. And with Kavinsky, it's kind of like that with Ronin, like the extreme to which they could go to. But yeah, Ronin's character development in this book, my friends. We learn many things about him, and I love it.
What was it? Maggie again tweeted her live thoughts. She reread the Dream Thieves like yesterday, and or the day before or something. Something that was so interesting is she said that chapter 34 was originally the first chapter in this entire series. And
in the entire, like, whoa.
This is the first thing she like ever wrote, and this was supposed to be the start of the series. And it's the scene where I think it's the scene where what's happening? Ronin is driving in a car and is about to race Kavinsky, and Noah's like in the back seat, and then it reveals that Ronin and Kavinsky are both like invented the cars that they're driving or like are magical. That was supposed to be the first scene in the book, and that just like it was shock. I was like, oh my god, imagine if. But I guess she is kind of doing that now because she's taking Ronin and making his own trilogy. But imagine like if that was the original start of the series. It's so weird to think. Anyway,
it would have been even more confusing than the other start of the book.
Right.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, other favorite side characters.
Noah. He is not really a side character, but still.
He kind of was in this one.
Noah. I know. This is when he is pushed out of the window. You said that last live show, and I was like, I don't remember that. And then I saw it. I'm like, yes, so great. We love throwing friends out of windows.
I did the same thing. I was reading it, and I was like, oh, there's that scene. I read through the Raven Boys so quickly that when I was talking about it, I was just started talking about the whole series, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to spoil this entire thing.
I know when you said it, I'm like, did I actually read this book? Like, did I just forget a bunch? So I was like, oh yeah, that happened in this book. No says Noah and Blue's kiss. Yes, this is what I wanted to talk about, my friends. I love platonic kisses. I did a review for the Raven Boys like a couple of years ago when I first read it, before I read the rest of the series, and I already love their dynamic, and I'm like, you know, what if they like? I don't think that they're not going to be in love with each other, but like he's already dead, and like they just need to kiss, and then it happened, and I'm very satisfied, and now I don't need to continue the series because I got what I wanted. I just love like the first. Is it like the first kiss you get in the entire series? Wasn't that Mora and the Gray Man? Was that the first ever kiss in the
Was that
series?
Or after Noah and Bruce? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I think it was
remember
beforehand.
Okay,
But
then,
like,
yeah. Oh, Mora
I
and
love that.
No, I love them. I was really, I was like really. I didn't care about them as much last time I read this because like I only cared about the kids. But this time around, I was like, yes, okay, I'm into this. Very nice.
But like, imagine someone comes up to you and is like, "I'm a hitman," and like, literally, it was the people from the Bed and Breakfast and Mora. Like, they're all like, "Oh yeah, cool." Like, no big deal. We love hitmen here. Like, what is this town? Like, do they have so many hitmen that it doesn't even faze them anymore? I'm
multiples. There's like a hitman season, the whole thing. Yes. Oh my god.
Kat, do you support the Blue and Noah kiss?
I'm not mad about it. It's fine. I think it makes a lot of sense because I mean he is dead and that's the whole thing. Also, I like platonic kisses too. But
yeah.
the scene I really care about, no kiss occurred. The scene where they go on, she and Gansey goes on the drive and they sit under the stars and they have their little moment. Oh my god. Every time I reread that scene, I scream. It's good.
And it didn't even have any kissing. See, the kissing scene wasn't romantic and the non-kissing scene was romantic. That's what we love.
The twist. But like those hand touches though, oh.
Right. My book is so tabbed up for that scene. And I remember reading this book and I was like, why are there 20 tabs on this page? What's this page going to do? And then I got there and I was like, oh, obviously it's when you fangirled about Blue and Gansey not kissing. But oh my God, I can't. I'm like, I don't feel like any other series makes me act like a little girl like this. I'm like, oh, it's so cute. I can't even handle it. It's too much.
I actually, I posted a picture yesterday on Instagram of the series, like talking about our read along, and someone was like, "Oh, I read the back of the Raven Boys, and it sounds a lot like Twilight. Like, should I read it?" And I'm like, "She's like, is this insta love?" And I was like, "What?" Like, of course, I had to reply and be like, "No, there's not even any kissing in the first book." But like, I guess the back of the Raven Boys does make you think it's going to be like more of like an insta love, like romance centric book because it's all about like that she can't kiss anybody. But wow,
yeah, kind of. No, you go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, it like lends itself to being kind of like that paranormal romance genre, but I'm gonna assume it's just like the publisher or like marketer's choice because that's what they're selling. But I think it's better to not do that.
When did the Raven Boys come out? Was it like 2012? 2000? Oh yeah, September 18th. Oh, whoa! It came out on September 18th, 2012. So we need to 4 days. Gotta shout it out. Yeah, I guess around then was like that's when it was like the Shadow Hunters were in full swing and stuff like that too. So it was more like I guess paranormal romance was in its heyday.
Yeah. I do think if this book came out nowadays, it would probably be pitched totally differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have a lot more focus on like magic and the ley lines and all that stuff.
I just wonder how many people like don't pick up the book because they think it's going to be something totally different. But then there are people who like pick up because of the romance and then they read it and they're like, this is so confusing. Like I don't want to continue with it at all.
I do think it's kind of impressive that Maggie Stiefvater managed to write a character who essentially has like relationships with 3 of these boys. Like if we're including Noah in their kissing scene, like she has a character who kisses a boy and then in the next scene she's in a relationship with another boy. And then in the next scene she's having like an intimate romantic exchange with another boy. And you still like love Blue and understand everything. And I feel like a lot of I don't know, a lot of people in like a love triangle type situation, when people read that, they like hate the girl and they like it's just a different kind of vibe. And I don't know, I just really love all the dynamics of this. I think this is one of the first books I read that had such a strong character-focused friendship vibe, even though there are so many relationships. And it influenced a lot of my future reading, this book. Because now I actively look out for like that weirdly close five people. Like,
yeah. I just like how she focuses, like, it's not even like if you step outside of the like romantic lines for a second, the focus on the relationships, not only in like a kissing way, but also like it hasn't really come about yet, but like Blue and Ronin's dynamic, and then also Ronin and Noah, and like everyone's friendship is so well developed that you just, oh yeah, I lost words, but you know, y'all know.
Could you recommend any books that have like a similar friendship vibe?
Dress Codes for Small Towns.
That's the only one I could think of that you would recommend.
I'll never stop talking about it. It's just like such a similar thing. It's like there's so many way too close friendships in that book. So what else? I feel like I seek out like thrillers that do that too, like If We Were Villains or The Secret History or First We Were Four by Alexander Sirui. Yeah, I like across genre. I like that weird friend group. Okay, we're getting a lot of comments to talk about Blue and Adam's fight when they like broke up at the end of the book. I don't know how I feel about it because like I feel like both of them were being too harsh. But like, I don't know.
But also, like, we know it's coming in the future.
Yeah.
So we're like, it's all gonna work itself out. I think it's just like, you know, they weren't right for each other at the start because of like the whole prophecy thing. So like, it didn't bother me too much, but still, I don't like seeing any of them sad or mad.
Fight, I like have to protect my heart. It hurts to see. I mean, also because I know what happens, I'm not upset about it. Totally.
I feel like Elias would have some words.
Oh, 100%.
Yes. I think it was around this time that I started not liking Adam. I'm like, he's so mean. But
I do find in this book, even though I have read it all, for like the first 300 pages before he does that ritual with Persephone, like when he's out of balance or whatever, he, like, I knew why, but he also still got on my nerves, even still, which I thought was interesting. Just, he's so infuriating, but also I love him so much. It doesn't make sense.
That's the thing with Adam. I'm just like, oh, like, you're my least favorite of all of them, but like, I still would fight for you.
Oh, absolutely. I'd 100% die for him, but also I want to give him a good talking to sometimes. But that's like, I feel the same about all of them. Like, there were moments in this book where with every single character, I was like, I need to sit you down. We need to have words.
He's so intense in this book that like, it just like, I don't know, I got all like teary when Blue was like, you're not the one. Like, we're not supposed to be together. Like, this ain't it. And I was like, oh, Adam. But the thing is, like, this is why the entire first book, like, kind of, I guess, leads you to root for Adam and Blue. But I always talk about, like, Blue and Gansey are endgame. And I know that people think that's a spoiler. I don't think it is.
The back of the book.
It's like, it says right at the beginning, like, this is her true love. Like, I don't know. That's something that bugs me when people are like, well, don't spoil the relationships. And it's like, it's in the synopsis.
Yeah. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, Superpow says, I would be sadder if Adam wrecked all his friendships. Yeah. Well, because, like, they weren't, like, very, like, they were romantic, but, like, didn't they just, like, hold hands, like, once in that helicopter or something like that? Like, they weren't, like, committed to each other. So I was, like, they were really harsh, and I didn't like that, but, like, again, you know what's happening, but, like, if when he goes after, like, Gansey and stuff like that hurts me way more.
Yeah.
What was your favorite scene in the book? This is my favorite book in the series, so like all of them.
I this time around really liked the scene, weirdly enough, where Ronin and Kavinsky are like the whole part where they're just like dreaming like everything, where he's trying to get the car back, but like the whole like leading up where Kavinsky's like teaching him what to do, because I totally forgot that happened, and so I was like,
yeah, I did too.
we were sitting in this field taking drugs together. What?
Yeah, I did not remember that either. I really like the first time we go to the barns because it's just like I totally forgot that happened too, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're all asleep. Like I forgot so much of this book. I remember like the big like when they go to the first like party thing, and I remember like the end of this book, but like all of the other details did not remember. But just like like learning about his mom and things like that too, and it's like what will happen to like Chainsaw if Ronin gets hurt? Like so many implications.
Yeah, I feel like that's like one of the biggest spoiler points of this book. Like the biggest reveals is that when somebody dies, like all of their inventions are just like stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was super shocked the first time I read this about Ronin's mom. I'm pretty sure.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even like see that coming at all. Which, well, I guess there's not really a ton of
like
into it, but like,
did Ronin have these powers before his dad died? Do we know that about that? Because I'm wondering, like, did it pass on? Do we learn about that later? Okay. I just don't remember anything.
Okay, I'm excited then for you to continue reading because I remember something with Ronin that's like super shocking in I think Blue Lily, a thing that he invented. So
I remember big plot points. I don't remember anything else. But like, imagine growing up in a house where like everything came out of the dreams. Like, how long has his dad been at it? And like, he had like dreams about like toasters and like calendars and things like that too. And he got like a whole flock of cattle. Is it a flock of cattle? Herd of cattle. There you go. He got a flock of cattle out of his dreams. But oh my gosh. And imagine like dreaming up a wife. That's weird. It worked out in the end, but like
odd.
Yikes.
Oh yeah, Declan and Matthew were a big part of this book too. I'm excited to see them more in the Ronin trilogy for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even think that we'd like to see his family.
You know what? Honestly, not to talk about a different book, but I don't remember anything from Blue Lily. Like, I'm so excited to reread that. All I remember is there's a cave.
I remember.
Was it in that one, or was it in the other one?
There's a cave.
They all blur together.
Because the last line of this one is, "I'm in the cave" or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was underground and I am like that.
Yeah.
I thought this whole time I thought the Gansey and Blue scene where they went in the car happened in Blue Lily, which was why I was so excited to read. So now I don't know what to expect. I know there's some hand touching. That's all I remember.
There's just like every scene in this book was my favorite. Like we had the scene where Kavinsky and Ronin and Gansey were like at the substance party. That's my favorite scene because I think it's the first time we see like a different side of Gansey who isn't so like put together. It's like he's just kind of like a reckless teenage boy, and I was like, ah. And then
like when he's wearing like a t-shirt and jeans, I was just like,
and everyone,
he's a person.
They were all making fun of him. I was like, it's funny.
Karina wants to talk about the orphan girl. I still like barely know what's happening with the orphan girl.
Have either of you read Opal, the novella?
Is it about?
I think so.
Yeah, it's the back of the Raven King that came out whenever it came out. People like I was talking about it in I read it for the reading rush this year, and people were like, I don't remember a character named Opal, and I was like, no, she's more commonly referred to as. But I don't want to give anything away because I also don't remember what the spoiler concerning
I don't know,
read that now. Wow.
even though I just read this, like I forget things. I'm like, did that happen or does that happen in the next book?
Andy says, I am not joking. I thought Orphan Girl was a deer. I mean, in this book, anything's possible. Honestly, more understandable than if you're reading like a contemporary something and then you said that. But like, anything could be anything in here. Even like, I reread the recaptains that Maggie Stiefvater wrote herself for these books before the live show. And like, even she, like, for Adam's sacrifice, she said like, oh, like, no one knows like what he really sacrificed. And like, you wrote this book and you don't know yourself. Oh, she has deer feet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Hooves, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. We read this really closely, guys.
I honestly
was thinking like when they said deer, like a deer. Okay. That
The
makes
body
sense.
of a deer.
Oh, like a satyr. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Right on.
just like the Raven Boys, I kind of skimmed the parts with the Gray Man. I still just like don't really care about the side story. So any questions about that? I have no idea how to answer them.
I thought she was half goat. Oh, goat. I thought that was a ghost. I was like, there's only one goat. There
They're gonna leave you one.
Respect him.
A single.
Oh shoot! I had a note in my notes that I wanted to start the live show of like why people should read this book, and now it's like not worth talking about because it's everyone who's here has read it. Oh man! Did you like this more or less than the Raven Boys?
More.
Less.
But
like, only slightly less. I just, the Raven Boys is like seared into my mind.
Mhm.
So that's the only one that I've read more than 2 times at this point. So like it's so nostalgic for me. This one doesn't have that same effect, but it was so good. I mean, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I definitely loved it more.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Shock and awe.
So shocked. I just like all of the characters are like falling into their own and like just like Blue and Gansey. I care so much more about them this time and like seeing all of the relationships and like seeing Ronin like growing and like I love the character development. Yes, Ronin. We learned many things about Ronin, and I am excited for the future.
Shocked at how oblivious I was the first time I missed everything about Ronin and like his development. Let's call it that. I don't know. I mean, it kind of spells it out, but like I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't believe sexuality is a spoiler.
I don't. Yeah, I mean that like it says it straight up. Like I feel like in this book that he's not straight. So like I mean, I just don't want to say anything about ships because people get touchy about that.
Yeah, for sure. I really liked when like I liked every scene between Ronin and Adam in here, and I think it builds a lot of good stuff. And then it says like Ronin's third secret was Adam. That's kind of like how it ends. Their last scene in this book, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't even like the first time. I didn't realize that because this epilogue mirrors the first chapter or whatever, like word for word, and then it talks about how Adam was the secret that before was like kept secret from Ronin. And I was like, okay. Like I missed that.
Yeah. I did too the first time I read it. Like for some reason, I mean, I did read them all in like 24 hours, and I'm like, wow, this kind of came out of nowhere, and then I'm an idiot. I am an idiot. Because when you like take your time, you can see like everything that like she planted.
Yeah, there's so many smart things throughout this entire series that you're like, whoa, she knew that from like day one. All right. Is there any more questions or topics that anyone would like to talk about or bring up or last minute stuff? We're going to cut this one kind of short. I'm not feeling great today, to be honest. My face is slowly like turning red. I think I have a fever. Oh yeah, when Ronin pays for Adam's rent. Oh my god.
We love a man who pays.
I love how it was like no one would ever expect Ronin to do something nice.
Oh,
Him with the mouse?
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
He's so soft.
And then he goes around and like is mean. But you know, I love the whiplash.
I was going for field mice, and I was like, okay, you had to ruin it. But, like, that's so cute.
Yeah, his dynamic
This question from Victoria reads, are there any characters who you completely changed opinions on? Or like maybe from the first time you read it, since like obviously you've read him a lot. But any like changing, I mean, obviously like Adam. I no longer have a grudge against him.
I actually didn't like Ronin in the first book, and I remember because I read this because it was so hyped. I wasn't like in the beginning of the hype. It was like years into it, and people always talked about the second book and how like you'll fall in love with Ronin. And I was in the time where I was writing Goodreads updates constantly back in 2014, and I have one that says like the page 1 of the Dream Thieves. I hate Ronin. Convince me otherwise. I dare you. And now Ronin's like, my baby, I love him. So definitely Ronin. I think that's kind of a natural thing. Like you're not supposed to love him, and then he grows on you.
Yeah. I think in between the time in which I read this last and this time, I kind of developed like this weird grudge against Ronin because I remembered all the mean stuff about him, but not the like the character development or like the soft moments. So this time, I didn't hate him or anything, but my opinion on him definitely like switched, improved. I really don't know. He's okay. I'm cool with him.
I'm trying to think of that one scene. Was it in this book, the one where it was revealed that like Ronin had let Gansey think that he had attempted suicide?
Yeah,
that fucked me up.
Yeah.
It was like, remember when I said this would never happen again? Oh my god, that hurt me.
Ooh. But then he just goes around and tells everyone the secret. So like,
he spent so many years.
Why?
Oh my god, true.
Things out of my dreams, guys.
Yeah. And then why did you hide it? Like, why did you let him think that? If you're like, just turn around and be like, you know, this Raven who you like wouldn't have thought anything otherwise. Like, well, did he? At the time, they were still searching for Glendower, right? So like, they were still looking into magic. Never mind. I'm like, maybe it was beforehand. But he just completely goes against his dad's wishes. Like, goes to the barns, like tells people about the dreaming, all of that. What do you think about the Gray Man? There were people I put in again the Instagram. I'm like, say like who your favorite character is, and a lot of people put the Gray Man with like thirsty emojis, and I was like,
okay,
oh,
all right,
you do you.
Yeah, okay.
Is everything have a car wheel ending?
I think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to read that out loud.
I think because I view Kavinsky as more of the villain of the story. The Gray Man, he's just kind of there. He's kind of just chilling. I don't really know. I can't even remember if he plays like a bigger role in the series or if this is kind of it for him. But at this point, I just am enjoying him and Mora together. I feel very nonchalant about it.
I really don't remember. I'm so excited to read Blue Lily Lily Blue, and I am committed to not waiting until Friday to start it. I'm gonna start like let's all maybe tomorrow flip a couple pages.
I like how in the series a lot of them are like gray characters. So like he's definitely like he's done much more bad things than the others, but like no one's actually like a perfect character. And so like I went into this and I'm like, you're a hitman, so like you're the worst, don't like you're killing people. And like he literally kills like several people in this book. But like I can't help but like kind of like him, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't like thinking that about myself. But I mean, he did get people off of Ronin's track, so he did a good thing. But again, I don't like thinking anything good about him. Also, like, he seems like he would definitely, like, mansplain things with all of his poetry. So.
True. I'm definitely looking forward to the third book to see what.
Yeah.
I don't remember what he does.
Oh, wait, I need to go back to the thing that you were reading about the car tire.
Oh, yeah. They said, have they ever explained how the car tire got in the bottom of the lake? And I don't think it was.
It's just like, oh, time is... it was when Calla was, like, reading it, and then she said, like, he, like, left the car with other people or something like that.
Left it behind, like in a like abandoned it kind of way. Because I don't know why.
Oh yeah, and then in this book we also found out that like the ley line was going in and out of power because Kavinsky was like using all the power. I thought that was a really cool part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I don't understand? Maybe I'm just being dumb, but Kavinsky was at Aglionby for like years before, so why wouldn't the ley line have suffered as a result of him and his whole thing? Like, did he just get his powers? And did I miss that? Or was it like because Ronin was using his powers more and both of them together were causing a problem? I was just thinking about that and I didn't see it.
Well, maybe because it wasn't woken up, it was like more more constant, but like not as... But like also, he probably wasn't pulling out like 100 Mitsubishis beforehand. It was probably like once it was woken up, he was able to pull out like more things.
Yeah.
So maybe he was like, I don't know if he was one beforehand.
I think we don't get a lot of like...
How did he even become a dream thief?
Right?
Because if Ronin got it from his dad, then did Kavinsky get it from... Because I know Ronin asked if his dad was a gangster, and then he was like, is your dad? And didn't answer the question.
Does Kavinsky ever answer a question?
No.
It's kind of his thing. Didn't he die?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, right. That happened, right?
Favorite book in the series. Yeah. This major character died? I don't know.
It's kind of one of those, like, did he really die? Or like, dum dum dum. All right. I think we're good to wrap it up. Actually, somebody just commented, where was it? They were like, I think this book, there wasn't like a huge like peak to this book. Like it was kind of just underwhelming in a way.
Anticlimactic, yeah.
Yeah, I understand what they're saying because this doesn't have any like huge moment that like changes the entire series. I don't think it's just kind of like a
dragon
change.
There was a dragon.
Like flame explosion.
Oh, there was so many things that happened, but I think the tone was there the whole book. Mm-hmm. Like it didn't really peak. It was all kind of just like, holy shit, what's happening? I'm confused, but in a good way.
More chaotic than the first one. Like I never knew what was going to happen next.
All right. So the next live show, we don't know totally when it's going to be, but we do know it's going to be on Cat's channel. So that'll be for Blue Lily Blue, which I can never pronounce properly. Blue Lily Blue. Which I don't remember anything about, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. And yeah, sometime next weekend. We'll figure it out and we'll let you know. So that's it for us today. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, we'll see you next weekend. Hopefully you tune in. If you're just here and you haven't read anything in the series, you can start now. Fly through some stuff.
We spoiled everything for you, but you know, no big deal.
It's not a big deal. There's still things that happen in the next coming book. So
it's my favorite. It's the best one.
It's gonna be a good time. So we'll see you next weekend. Bye.